Hey, so it's Sheila. I guess it's the Grapple podcast. That's what I think I want it to be, because I grapple with all kinds of things. I grapple with being adopted. I grapple with getting old. I grapple with being single. I grapple with what I should be when I grow up. But what I'm not grappling with is, despite being a Republican my entire life, there was absolutely no way that I consider myself a Republican anymore, because you guys have lost your mind. And somehow, just because Kamala is way more liberal in some of her outlooks, to me, character matters. So, I'm going to tell you a story that's awkward to tell, but it's one of those really formative things that happened in my life. So when I was 19, I'd broken up and gotten back together and broken up and had a very volatile, love-filled relationship with my high school boyfriend. So Jack and I met at church. I saw him across the way. He was a year behind me in school when I was in 9th grade and he was in 8th grade. And I liked him from the get-go. And it took a while for us to become a couple, but that would have been 10th and 9th grade for him. And then junior year I was drum major, and then he was drum captain. So, all that was great, high school, everything. But he went to the Marines, and I was in college. And he got out of the Marines, and we got together and ended up, when we were 19, having relations one time. And then there I was pregnant. Now, my personal belief system has always been that, conception is all those things, that's the magic. But I didn't know. And faced with that and his lack of desire to get married at this point, he'd just gotten out of the Marines, and this was within a 2-week period of time, my dad ended up finding out that I was pregnant. So the OBGYN sent a referral to the insurance. You're in college, your parents' insurance is your insurance. So he called me every day. Every question I had, everything I had, but the soul, but the this, but the that. Dad had an answer for all those things. And I ended up having an abortion. This was 1985. Obviously a life lesson I needed to learn, because I had John out of wedlock a year and a half later, and obviously it was a life lesson I needed to learn. Now, this was the hardest grapple I ever had to do, and certainly I did question with my father, and I've looked at it over the years, and some of my very fundamentalist friends are like, well, have you forgiven yourself? Do yes, I forgave myself. Yes, I thought about this. Yes, I'm personally responsible. Do I think that God can't deal with anybody else's pregnancy, and if somebody loses a baby or that has an abortion, or I am certain that soul's okay. Adoptees would tell you that lots of us would vote, don't have me. This has been a screwed up life. I wasn't raised and taken care of by the parents who was supposed to, and now that I'm messed up in the head. So it's not just me. We all grapple with these things. So to me, not having that choice after all we've gone through for 50 years, or wanting to come back in here and change the access to RU 486 and on the other things that are, the morning after pill. There is no way that life is good and America is America without these rights being okay for all women of childbearing years to decide if they're ready to have a kid. If you're not willing to support unmarried pregnant women and give welfare and all these things that get bitched about, then why are you not okay with them being responsible and when they procreate? To me, this is a basic fundamental right that needs to be between a doctor and a woman, that people should make their own choices, and that we don't know, you can't prove, some people don't believe their souls. This is America. This is a complex situation that absolutely should not be legislated. If you believe a way and you have some proof and you want to talk about it and you want to influence your children not to have abortions and you want to preach it from the pulpit, that's the freedom of a religion. You can preach it from your pulpit. But making laws about it and having a congressperson, lawmakers make laws about this rather than letting us grapple with it, I'm not down. I'm really not down. Women have fought hard to be able to vote, to be our own autonomous beings that can own stuff and have credit cards and live a life not based on being chattel of men. So I am not going back to being chattel. I am not going back, and I don't want it for my granddaughters. I don't want it for any young women that are faced with issues. And to me, this is the number one reason that even if you are conservative, even if you find Kamala to be far too liberal for your liking, if you want to call her a communist, you need to go look up that word. Nobody's a communist. But if they lean more socialist, I'll give you socialist. If they lean that way, this is a time that you need to really think about what it is to be a woman, what it is for us to have fought for all these rights. And I'm sorry I'm being ineloquent because I'm driving in stupid, ridiculous traffic. But nothing is more important than saving these rights for women and for women to come. So I very, very urgently urge you, as a same age as Kamala, grandmother of 3, single woman who takes care of herself and doesn't need a man to have my credit card or my bank account or own stuff. I don't need a man. I want one, but I don't need a man. And that needs to be available for all women for the rest of all time. So nothing is more important than getting out, going to vote, and holding on to these rights that other generations fought for us to have. Whether it was the suffragettes that got us the right to vote, or the women who somehow fought through a bunch of ridiculous propaganda in the 70s to give us the rights we have now, equal rights. We still don't make as much money for the same jobs. We still have our issues, but we need to keep going in this direction and not go backwards. It wasn't better. It's a delusion. So, grapple with 1964, and I'll talk about something else sometime soon. Thanks for joining me. Bye.